What is food security? How could it affect you? Food security is when a population of people have a reliable source of sufficient, safe and nutritious food, regardless of gender, race, financial situation and so on. It also includes the population having the right education on how to choose, store, handle and prepare nutritious food for their lifestyles. When we walk into a supermarket, we are surrounded by a plethora of food from different parts of the world. Yet, food security could become a threat to Australia in the not too distant future.
No part of the world is immune. All world regions have been affected by the rise of food insecurity. Australia's current population is 23 million, but we produce enough food to feed 60 million people. So what's making us insecure? Growers are leaving the industry due to low prices and an estimated 130,000 laws in relation to agriculture and food production. We import 1.6 times more than we export. As the population grows towards 9 billion by 2050, these imports may not continue and we are not self-sufficient in putting us in an insecure position. Currently, Australia is food secure. This gives us good health and maintains our national security. But to maintain our security, we must take action on upcoming challenges such as population growth and climate change.
Australia faces future threats to its current good position in food security, namely globalisation and foreign ownership. Globalisation permits the import of cheap, nutritionally diminished foods, which in itself constitutes a threat to food security. These imports place unfair market pressure on the local growers, forcing some out of business, resulting in decreased incentive for capital investment and further research and development. When combined with foreign ownership of up to 60% in some areas of agriculture, this represents a major threat to the food security of Australia. In the event of a catastrophe such as war, fuel shortages or natural disasters, Australia could be overly reliant on foreign imports and find much of its own remaining yields sent overseas. Aside from having problems importing food, we might face issues of transporting food within our own country if fuel supply is diminished because of the massive distances involved.
Although the overall Australian population is reasonably food secure, as shown in this graph, there are still high rates of food insecurity in certain minority groups such as Indigenous Australians, remote Australians, single-parent households, unemployed Australians, rental households, young Australians, recently settled refugees and the elderly. Centralisation of food supply in Australia to increase efficiency has meant that we now rely heavily on power, water, transport, access to diesel fuel, and imported ingredients and packaging materials. This makes our food security very fragile, and emergency situations such as natural disasters, adverse weather conditions, and pandemics can have a massive impact.
There are two main issues that have a considerable impact on the state of our food security, one being population growth. From 2005 to 2010, Australia led as the fastest growing nation in the world. The population increased at a rate of 1.9% a year. If our population continues at this rate, there will be 36 million people living here by 2050. This is compared to the 22 million residing here now. The major factors to this continual increase are there is a higher rate of births than mortalities, and there are more immigrants coming into the country than leaving. The severe increase of people means there is a considerable rise in the demand of food. The second issue threatening our food security is climate change. Climate variations have occurred from the beginning of time, but since industrialisation in the 1700s, humans have caused a critical depletion of the Earth's resources, also contributing to the rapid rise of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. Australia has seen the consequences of these anthropogenic impacts, such as increase of temperature, change in rainfall patterns, and the rise of extreme weather events. Our country has seen drought and fires to cyclones and floods. This has put a detrimental strain on our agriculture and production of food as weather is becoming more damaging and much less predictable.
At the moment, Australia's food security is in more than a dependable state. While we appear to be in a good state, this may not last forever. We currently rely too heavily on import that if it were to be cut off in the future, we would no longer be in the secure state we are in now. There are two currently applied ways of addressing this problem: food technologies and the Australian National Food Plan, which addresses government and industrial approaches. There are two aspects of food technologies which are currently being applied in research: genetically modified foods and selective breeding. Genetically modified foods are the forefront of future applicable food technologies that can lead to sustainable and efficient methods of food manufacture. It is the modification of the DNA of crops and animals to produce certain traits which are desirable. While genetic modification may seem like a futuristic technology, there are already many in place, such as plants which have a higher tolerance to pesticides, require less water, and have a higher temperature tolerance. A well-known example is cows, which are engineered to have low levels of a chemical which induces the breakdown of muscle, which resulted in cows which are extremely muscular and have high yields. Utilization of these technologies can lead to more efficient and effective production of fresh produce and other foods. Selective breeding is the other aspect of current food technologies. It works similarly to GMOs but are not as direct. Produce with desirable qualities are bred to a higher frequency so that those qualities are more prevalent. The next applicable way of addressing our food security is the National Food Plan. The National Food Plan is a government policy plan which anticipates the need for increasing food security as the population increases. It is a multi-pronged approach to tackling food insecurity through government and industries veering the country towards self-sufficient and effective sustainability instead of relying on imports and exports to ensure food security and boost the economy. In an industrial approach, the most important aspect is educating the public about what is food security, its importance, and sustainability. The public should be educated towards supporting the consumption of food products that are produced in Australia. Home gardening should also be emphasized towards the public to help supplement the low availability of produce, as well as utilizing greenhouse-friendly methods. These methods, however, should not only be limited to individuals, but from all businesses to industries. For a government approach, the establishment of an Australian Food Security Agency would be ideal. It would allow a more organized approach to ensuring food security, as well as a mode for widespread communication, and even indirectly allow decisions to be made by the public. The current situation can also be much better addressed with the use of government resources to do a national survey and coordinate aspects of food industry, such as waste, carbon emissions, quality, and so on, as well as give rise for research opportunities for methods of security. More importantly, the processing of food and how it is produced and the application of food technologies can be better monitored. A standard can be made to ensure the production of safe and quality food. While there are other solutions to ensuring food security, these are the two solutions which, when used in conjunction with one another, can guarantee effective relief in our current situation and economic background.
So what are you doing about food security?